from my understanding, is this your first interview?
Yes, you have the exclusive pleasure of being my first interview, Hippie.
Pog!
Ooh.
Oh, woo, indeed.
I know,
Ow.
big poggers for you.
Yo, I'm super like when you agreed, dude. I basically just like gasmed and fell over. I was like,
I hope you
ah.
didn't hurt yourself. Hippie, so fall over.
Well, it depends on what you mean by hurt. It was a pleasant hurt. But chat, please feel free to tune in as well if you guys and girls and hippies alike have any questions for Seravium as well. How was your day though, Seravium?
It was pretty good. I was asleep most of it, and then I had to hurry and catch up with a bunch of work today because I still work a 40-hour-a-week job on top of streaming. So
Oh, wait, you work? You work and stream?
yeah, I work a 40-hour-a-week as an executive assistant to a cell bio researcher.
Oh, yeah, damn, you're an
I work for Umbrella.
wait a minute. That actual corporation. I was like, wait a minute. That's deep, bruh. Give me the vaccine if there ever is an outbreak. Just. But yeah, Seravium is actually she is a horror fanatic.
Hey, Seravium, HippieSoLit wants to interview you. He wants to know about your childhood, your hopes, your dreams, your darkness, your deep dark secrets, everything you never wanted to tell anybody live. Get ready, you're going on now.
Wait, are you serious? I just got out of the shower. My hair's not brushed. I don't have makeup on.
That's
I'm still
okay. You
sitting
can
in
have
my
goals on my
pajamas.
boobs. It's
He wants
fine.
me to go on live now?
Yeah, but you don't even use a camera, so none of that matters. So just grab your coffee, let's go.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I don't use a camera. This is fine. Okay, I'm ready for this. Hippie, where are you? Let's go.
Yeah, and that was 100% you, right, Sarah?
Yeah, totally.
You see, everyone. Yo, I told you, everyone here. I'm telling you, she's so talented, and she's a wonderful streamer. And community is super good. They're always lively, and there's I when I first came there, I felt super welcomed, and like yeah, it was mind blowing to me.
But yeah, basically, I stream horror games on Twitch. New horror games, old horror games, indie horror games, retro titles, first person, third person, side scrolling, point and click. If it's horror games, we play it. I primarily play console games on PlayStation consoles or on Steam. So whatever is kind of available. I do all original hardware myself. So yeah.
And I loved
shindig.
that. I loved your Silent Hill plays. Fantastic, dude. So good. You have a lot of speedrunners as well in your community.
Yeah, so I'm a slow runner myself. Like I'm the slowest runner possible. Yeah, I'm kind of a slow runner myself. So I play games slowly and poorly, but oddly enough, I have a lot of friends that are speedrunners, and I watch a lot of speedrunners, and I watch a lot of challenge runners, mostly because I find it very interesting and satisfying that like they know how to, like, especially like you, Hippie, you do a lot of challenge runs, and like you guys know how to optimize the game and play it so well that somebody like me that is really terrible at games, I'm like, okay, so that's how they got through it, doing it really well. Like, can I use your strategy to get through it because I'm terrible at it? And it usually works out really well to my advantage. So I enjoy watching speedrunners because they can optimize the game and they can help somebody that's terrible like me actually get through the game on an easy difficulty. But I just appreciate how dedicated to the craft that they are with horror games. And I enjoy watching like casual players too, but I just really like, the dedication that
But yeah, that's what I noticed a lot too about your entire community. Basically, you know, like Failmore's over there. You know, basically damn near everyone that I know of. What I mean? And
Yeah, I interact with like Failmore, Seven Ray D, Lucy Lover, Ecadicus, an Eternal Enigma. Like,
oh, he's good.
Nico Hart is a huge speedrunner too. Psychohypnotic and his community. Who else? It is speedruns. Fungo TV.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Retro Brando, who speedruns. Yiddle, who speedruns. I'm forgetting Moon Runes.
I love Moon.
Sneeble, Matt
And
RPG.
Actually, coming up, they're gonna be next on some list. I can't talk about it, but you know, that's why. And like I said, I only wanted to do initially the people I actually cared about and their community, that, you know, communities I personally feel a part of, you know, and the people who actually like I enjoy watching. I'm not just interviewing just random people left and right. You're one of the first people I had on the list, and I was like, yo, I need a Seravium. I needs that. And thank you. I would like that's the first thing I want to say is thank you so much for just giving me this opportunity to, you know, to interview you. Like, thank you. That this really means a lot to me.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. So I there's just like a huge breadth of people that I think are part of our greater, what I would consider our greater horror community that we all sort of intermingle in with, and then it sort of bleeds over into what I would consider our variety streamers, you know, because you have people that, you know, they play horror games sometimes, but they also play a broader range of games. Like, I consider people like Coffee Drinking Noob and Nico Hart and Nictacular and even yourself as variety streamers, because they play horror games, but then they also play other games that maybe not necessarily considered horror games, or like Soph, that, you know, they kind of dabble into the RPG range, but they still do speed runnings, or like Kyoryu Hunter, which does to do speed runnings, but they'll go into like other types of other games. And they, you know, Corgi Creates or Beep Salt, and they do all sorts of just a huge variety of different games. So it's so nice to like just have everybody.
And everyone, if you guys and girls and hippies alike are just tuning in, this is Seravium's first interview.
It's my first interview. Oh my gosh, you're 686. Holy crap, you play this a lot. Okay.
Oh, trust me, all my other friends are like 2000. No, you're good. You're good. How have your streams been? First of all, how have they been?
They've been a lot of fun.
Oh God, my bad. That's a little too. I forgot. I linked it.
Your deep dark secrets.
You linked everything. Thank you. That's very kind of you. The streams have been really good. I stream on, well, when I'm feeling well, I stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays around between 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Mountain Time, and then on Sundays around 9 to 10 a.m. U.S. Mountain Time, and I usually go between 5 to 8 hours per stream, and or until I get tired, or we beat the game, or I get grumpy, or whatever. Yeah, I do have a TikTok, Underrated Critic. I haven't uploaded anything for a little while because I've been a little lazy. So, apologies on that. But yeah, I do have a TikTok.
I was about to ask you about that. I did my research. I did my. Okay, that sounded creepy. Pause.
No, that's okay. Creeper away on me. Like, yeah, I do have a TikTok. I started adding some just like really random clips, and then I've been a little lazy, like, because you know how TikTok goes. Like, you start watching videos, and then like 6 hours go by, and you're like, what just happened? I just found out that like, you know, you've been watching TikTok for like 6 hours and you don't know what happened. And you're like, I just meant to upload a video. And then TikTok's so strict on like formatting and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I gotta edit this, and then you're like, I'm really lazy and I don't want to edit something, and yeah, so I need to get back on the TikTok editing ball.
What do you call your followers?
Well, we call them the Octopus Consortium because a group of octopi are called a consortium.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the biological term, but like,
You sound intelligent.
I don't know what else we call. I don't know what do we call ourselves. I see underrated critic and Nico Hart in chat. I don't know if anybody else slid over.
How would you describe yourself as the individual behind Seravium, behind Sera?
I don't know. I'm actually really shy. Like, most of my friends that know me know that like I'm really, really, really quiet and I'm really, really shy. So like if you meet me in person, I'm like the one like hiding behind other people. I'm like, who are you? What is your intention? Why are you standing close to me? How loud are you gonna be? Like, I'm one of those people that like I'm staring at you, I'm staring you down and like summing you up to try and figure you out before like I talk to you. I'm really, really shy when I first meet people, and then when I get to know them, like I don't shut up. So I go from like I don't want to talk to you, I'm really standoffish, to like I'm your best friend and I'm gonna attach to you and you're never gonna let me go. So I'm like an octopus, honestly. So that's why like my mascot is an octopus. I really like octopi. They're sort of standoff creatures, and then they go to like I'm never gonna let you go.
Yo.
And they're gonna rickroll the fuck out of you. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like the nerd. I'm always a nerdy person, and I'm really weird. And my friends are just always like, "What did you grab? Did you grab a temperature gauge?"
I grab a temperature.
Okay,
I grab a strong flashlight.
Okay, then I'll grab a EMF and a spirit box. Then I'm a super huge nerd, and it's like when I find a common ground with somebody, I'm like, do you like anime? Do you like video games? Do you like squishy plushies? Do you like hoodies? Do you like Dungeons and Dragons? Do you like fantasy? Like, if I can find a common ground with somebody, like, do you like metal music? Do you like techno music? Like, if I can find a common ground with you, then I will like latch onto that, and I'll be like, okay, this is all I'm going to talk about with you until we can find more common ground.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, I think that's kind of like my thing. If I can find a common ground with somebody, then I'm like, okay, we're going to be best friends now, and I'm never going to let you go, and you're mine now.
What kind of anime are you into? Because I love anime.
I really, really like horror anime, and I really like the like sci-fi like good storyline anime. So like my favorite anime is Ghost in the Shell and Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. I love Ghost in the Shell. When we're not talking about the live action bullshit garbage that the US decided to ruin. Okay, I don't want to talk about that. We don't talk about that. So Batao is my favorite character. He is amazing. I want to marry him, and he's beautiful. And Tachikomas, I want one. Like, I want one. I have a small Tachikoma figurine collection in my house. And I love them. But Ghost in the Shell is my favorite of like the sci-fi ones, and I really, really like psychological fucked up ones.
Oh yes,
so those are like my fun ones. And then I have a guilty pleasure with boys love anime. So the gayer it is, and the more trashier it is, the happier I am. But I'll watch pretty much anything. But yeah, I'll watch just about anything. What do you like, Hippie?
Oh.
Tell me, what's your favorite?
Oh my god. I like I guess I just recently found out I'm into Yuri because I just watched
oh nice.
What was it? Citrus with my girl. It was super
Citrus was really good.
And I like horror Mia and stuff really like that. But yeah, dude, no, and I'm into a lot of messed up anime. You know, like Higurashi, you know, when they cry.
Higurashi is amazing. I love Higurashi.
I'm surprised you haven't gotten interviewed more. Like you do a lot. But you do a lot also in your streams. Like my main thing is just your voice is so addicting. Like that's like the number one thing when I found like your channel so addicting.
Yeah, so like when I first started when I first started streaming, people used to tell me that I sounded sick and nasally. And
That's
yeah, that
rude.
my voice sounded sick and nasally, and I was always like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry." So people used to tell me that I sounded sick and nasally, and I was like, "Oh." And then I got the microphone and mixer setup that I have now.
Mm.
And people started to say, "Oh, I kind of like your voice." And then I was playing a game called Mad Father one day, and that's where like the like cutesy little anime voice came out from. And then people really seemed to like it, so I rolled with it. Yeah, and then people were just like, "Hey, you want to host for marathons?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." Except for except for GDQ, who says I sound robotic.
GDQ
And
did?
yeah, they say I sound robotic and flat and boring and nasally, but I'm gonna keep trying.
No.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's my feedback from the last time. I still have to try again for this new one, so we'll see.
Before we get into, because that's just rude. I didn't even know they can actually reply to you. Say
Well,
some
you can
shit
ask
like
them
that.
for feedback, right? So they send like when you're interviewing for hosting slots, you can ask for feedback because there's a panel of judges that go over your hosting like you have to record a hosting interview thing. And they're judging you on like your tone and if you followed instructions correctly and like your choice of like if you know what if you picked proper donations to be read. The last couple of times I've asked for feedback, they haven't given me feedback. And this last time gave me feedback and I was like, okay, cool, you can get feedback, so you can improve, right?
Of course.
And all the judges give you feedback. And so I was reading the comments and like all the comments were saying I sounded like a robot, that I just sounded flat and boring like a robot. And I was like, wow, really? Like I don't. And I know that like since I don't use the camera and I have a lot of like a lot of my viewers are not native English speakers, or they have hearing impairments. I use closed captions embedded on my stream all the time, so I really enunciate my words. I really enunciate my words, and I talk a little bit slower to pronunciate my words really well. And maybe they feel like that's not appropriate, but I try to speak clearly so that the closed captions picks up my words. Now, closed captions still like fumbles my words sometimes, but I try to do that so the closed captions picks up the words properly. And that's just a habit for me because of streaming to make my closed captions work properly. And maybe they thought that, I don't know, maybe they thought that was weird, or that it makes maybe they think that makes me sound robotic, but I don't know. Maybe they want like, hi, I'm super bubbly all the time. Let's be super nice and like totally like California girl, happy, bubbly, awesome. Like, yay, GDQ. Let's read some donations. We've got a $10 donation from HippieSoLit. Yay, let's go play Phasmophobia. Totally awesome. I don't think I could totally
I'm fucking crying. I'm sorry for breaking character. Oh,
my God. Personality.
How can no?
That is not my personality.
I know you're very very conservative about like where you grew up, and stuff. You don't like talking about those kind of topics, which is completely understandable.
Oh yeah, well, well, no, like I could talk about that. So like I grew up in the mountains in a nice ranching community with a bunch of cowboys and stuff. So I grew up in a really small ranching community. Where my graduating high school class was 56 students. My high school had 350 students total. Yeah, total. And that was like 9th grade through 12th grade. Of the students I graduated with, so like I said, I graduated with 56 students. Of the 56 students, about 45 of those I had been going to school with since kindergarten.
Oh,
so
tiny
like everybody
community.
knew everybody. So that kind of tiny community. you know, like I had to drive 20 miles to get to my school. You know, I drove a pickup truck.
Oh.
Everybody listened to like, everybody listened to country music. And when you have like the nerdy semi-goth girl that plays Final Fantasy and Silent Hill in the cowboy, ultra-conservative, religious ranching community school, you can kind of already assume how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Right. So you can already see that I was the oddball out. Like I did really well in school. I got really good grades. I did. If you didn't do sports and go to church, you were considered an outcast. So imagine being I did ballet for 10 years. So I was a ballerina for 10 years.
Dude, how'd you like it?
It was really good, but when you're 5'8", you're already too tall. When you've got thick thighs that can happily, like, you know, suffocate a nice, beautiful face when you're riding it, like, you're already like not the right body type. And when you got titties galore, you're already not the right body type. Yeah, don't worry, Nick, that's all yours. Yeah, so I wasn't really quite the right body type for like professional ballet, but I loved being a ballerina. I did, you're talking like Black Swan kind of ballerina kind of stuff. So I enjoyed it for a long time. But yeah, so I didn't participate in school sports because I was a ballerina like 3 days a week with a company out, that was like 40 miles away.
Yeah.
And in my other times, I was sitting down in my basement playing video games. So I was already kind of like the outcast in school. Growing up, it was kind of weird for me being in school because you knew everybody was in everybody's business. Like you knew everything that went on with everyone in the school. But also sort of being an outcast because I didn't participate in a lot of like the religious mumbo jumbo that everybody else was into. I didn't participate in the school sports because I was doing other things. So, my family was a lot more forward thinking than other families. So I
strict wise?
Yeah, it was weird.
Can you get into that?
Well, like my family is kind of one of those. I appreciate my family because,
of course.
like, I remember telling my mom, and I've said this on stream before. When I was like 3, I remember saying to my mom, I was like, "Mom, I want to marry 2 girls and 1 boy at the same time." And my mom just kind of looked at me, and she was like, "Well, okay, so as long as everybody is consensual, that's completely fine." Versus the philosophy of the town would be like, she's a devil child, like why would you allow that, whereas my mom was just kind of like, okay, that's cool, if everybody consents, that's great, do what you want to do, kiddo. But yeah, so things like that, or like my parents were supportive, or like my dad was like, if a boy tries to touch you, you punch him in the dick, kick him in the dick kind of thing. Like, if a girl tries to touch you, you punch her in the fucking, punch her in the cunt, like that kind of thing. Don't let somebody, if somebody is going to attack you, you get in a punch and you make sure they stay down kind of thing. Like my parents were like, don't, defend yourself. And if you get in trouble, like we'll back you up kind of thing. So, my parents were like, don't let anybody push you around kind of deal, whereas I would say more other parents are just like, no, you just listen to authority, whereas my parents are like, go challenge it. So I was in the principal's office often growing up, not because I was a bad kid, but I would always question what my teachers would say, and not all of them liked that. And it wasn't because I was a bad kid, I just questioned authority.
Did you ever find that weird that your parents were like your mom was that supportive?
Not really, because to me, like, I always just thought it was weird that their parents weren't supportive. Like I could see like some kids, like their parents were like, that's wrong, you know. I got told a lot that I was gonna go to hell, like I was gonna rot in, you know,
Really?
XYZ. Like a lot of I always got told like my parents were not very religious individuals, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I always got told by other parents and other kids that, you know, I was gonna burn in hell, or like I was, you know, I was a bad influence, even though I was always a good kid and like parents loved me because I was always, you know, obedient and respectful. But because my beliefs were different, I was always told that, like, you know, I
Yeah.
was gonna rot in hell. And I always just thought that was always kind of weird to me, because I was like, just because I don't believe the same things that you do, you're gonna tell me I'm a bad person. Okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought that was weird. Or like when, you know, kids were like, I want to experiment with like black nail polish on my nails and I'm a male, and I'm like, that's cool, let me paint your nails. They were like, that's wrong. And I'm like, why? It's just nail polish. Like, I don't understand. And my parents were like, you should paint his nails black because that looks cool. Like, I would paint my dad's nails because
Really?
he didn't care. Yeah, my dad would let me paint his nails to practice,
Mm-hmm.
and he would wear them to work, and he didn't care, you know, like.
That's a super supportive parent. Okay.
Right, he didn't care, right? You know, or like my brother would let me put barrettes in his hair. Like, he wouldn't wear it at school, but you know,
Yeah,
they
of
would let me,
course.
like, you know, do weird things to them, and they didn't care. And they
Mhm.
just, I always thought it was weird when people were so judgmental about like appearances or like who other people like liked or loved. Like, to
Mhm.
me, it just, I don't know, I didn't never got it. Like the kids that were like gay in school, or
Mhm.
and being in such a small town, it was so hard. And like, I'm an older person, so this is like the 90s, and you didn't talk about that in the small towns. And like, I got into so many verbal fights, and I always ended up in the principal's office for it because I was defending people, and
Mhm.
my parents never punished me for it because they knew that I was just standing up for somebody that didn't have a voice. And so that's kind of, I think, I don't know, that's kind of where that's where I grew up in, was
Mhm.
a family that was like, you know, speak your voice, speak for what you believe in. And if other people don't agree with you, like, you don't have to take it out on them, but always stand up for what you believe in, because we live in an area that is a beautiful place and it was a great town, but there's going to be a lot of people that don't agree with you. And
Mhm.
I think that kind of like shaped me for the future anyway. So, and
Yeah.
has helped me deal with a lot of shit on Twitch for sure.
Oh,
So,
oh yeah. Yeah, Twitch can get gruesome. Oh, trust me, I'm going to get into that. Oh, my bad. Do you have it in the journal?
oh, I see what D&D
Yeah.
said. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've got it in the journal. I'm good to go.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
did
yeah.
I move from my hometown? So, since my hometown was really small, D&D nerd, when I decided to go to college, I obviously could not stay in my hometown because the college I wanted to go to was nowhere close to that. So I had to move to a larger city to go to college. And then when I got out of college, I was kind of traveling around for a bit, and then
Mhm.
ended up settling in the city that I'm in. But I've kind of decided that I like the like being anonymous in a large town. Like, in a large city, being in a larger city, there's more amenities, there's more jobs, and it's nicer to be anonymous. And there's a more,
Senpai.
at least where I live, there's a more broader opinion. Like, there's more people with more opinions instead of, like, I like the small town. I liked kind of like not having a lot of people around. I liked the open space. I liked being in the middle of nowhere. But I didn't like not having amazing internet, and I didn't like having a very closed-minded community. Whereas I think that, like, being in a larger city, you get more people with more broader opinions, and that, to me, is just a better place to live, because you don't get as many, like, closed-mindedness.
No, completely.
There's more people in a larger town, in a larger city, so you have more opinions. And it's nice to share that. And like every time I go back to my hometown, because there's a few friends that still live back there, or if I had to go back for like a wedding or a funeral or something, every time I go back there, I'm just reminded of why I left. And I'm just like, ugh, it never changes here. Like, you guys are so close-minded. Like, they just want everything to stay the same. Like, they don't want change. And I think change is a good thing. So that's honestly why I left.
Have you had to deal with anything like that, like gang violence and stuff like that growing up?
Gangs were not as prevalent when I was growing up. It definitely has increased with a lot of methamphetamines coming into that area. But there was a lot of rape and sexual abuse in the area growing up. Like, my two best friends when I was 11 were raped by the town sheriff's son. And so that was a pretty traumatic thing. I was actually supposed to be at their house when that happened that night. So, I was supposed to be hanging out at their house that evening, and the only reason I wasn't there is because I was pissed off at them for something like absolutely catty. Like,
wow.
Absolutely catty. And I didn't want to go hang out at their house, and both my parents were like, you should go hang out, like go socialize with them. And I was like, no, I'm mad at them. Like, I don't want to hang out. I don't want to go to their house that night. Like, I don't want to sleep over. I don't want to be there. Like, please just tell them I'm not allowed to go over that night. You know, when you don't feel like going to your friend's house and you're begging your parents to like lie for you to say you don't want to hang out. And that night they were, small town, and you could technically walk around at night even as kids, and it was quote unquote safe. And they got grabbed by the sheriff's stepson and a couple of his friends, and they pinned him down and raped him, 11 years old. And everybody, of course, the next day was calling my phone, calling my parents, asking where I was, because everybody knew I was almost always at their house every weekend, hanging out. And like, my brother flipped out, like my parents flipped out, and it's kind of one of those like luck of the draws. You never expected that to ever happen in a small town like that. But yeah, so for us, and unfortunately a couple other incidents like that happened over the years to various other friends of mine, like girls. So gang violence, no, but like rape and sexual assaults were a lot more common. So, and some people took their lives because of that. And so, and some people didn't. So in the roundabout way of like gang violence, where people are hateful and cruel to each other, in the same thread of things where people are just awful to each other, yes, I have experienced it, but no, in a completely different sense,
Yeah.
So,
and that's that you gave me chills with that, because that's just disgusting,
yeah, well, it's a very odd twist of fate, right? There, the previous week they pissed me off in something such a catty and stupid way. And I think it was over like smoking. Like, I didn't want to smoke with them.
Yeah.
And they were pressuring me so much, and I was just like, I don't want to smoke. My lungs are bad. Like, I have asthma already. Like, I don't want to do this. And they were pressuring me, and I was just getting so angry with them.
Yeah.
And the next week I was just like, no, I'm pissed off at you still. I don't want to hang out tonight. And like, that catalyst of me being so angry and catty with them over something, as an adult is just so insignificant. But me being so adamant that we got a phone ringing.
Yeah, I heard a phone.
Where was that, upstairs?
I think so.
Yeah, me being so pissed off over that seemingly minuscule thing protected me from something that would have been even more life-changing, right?
Of course. And that,
which is just and that definitely kind of shook me, and obviously shook them, and shook a lot of people, right? Shook my parents, shook my brother. Like, my brother wouldn't let me go anywhere for at least 2 years by myself. he's 4 years older than me, and he was like, no, where are you going? I'm coming with you. Like, no, where are you going? I'm coming with you, you know.
This
Well,
is the
it's just
reality
like
of life, though. You know.
well,
That's
yeah, and
the
at
type of
11
shit that
years
really
old, but
happens.
you know, and it's the same thing with you know, gun violence, right? And it's the same thing with gun violence and gang violence. You're manipulating children into wanting to become part of something, right? Wanting to become part of a family and pushing them to become part of you know, something greater because they didn't have that support at home. They didn't have that support, you know, with family or wherever they are, and they're thinking that's the only way to go. And then in the end, like, it's ruining families, it's ruining friends, it's ruining relationships because the violence gets out of hand. When all they needed was, you know, support. When all they needed was somebody there to tell them that they're worthwhile.
I like the way that you have that tone to you, where even in your streams, you know, you're wholesome, you're lewd, and you really don't care what people really like have to say about it, you know, and you keep going on about it. And I honestly, I have to commemorate you for that, because even your chat it's never quiet. It's never quiet in your chat, really. At least from all the times I've seen it, and that's awesome. That's really cool, because I've been in people's streams where it's like over 100 plus, and no one's like really saying anything. If anything, probably two people chat.
Well, it can get like that. I think some people use me as their sleepy time stream, but like you know, and some people would be offended by that, but I don't. But I don't mind that, because for me, it's like when you've grown up somewhere where you don't have a sense of safety and security, there's no fucking way you'll ever fall asleep in that area or that location or that area, right? Like, if you don't feel safe, you're not going to let your guard down, right? If you've grown up in an area where you don't feel safe, your guard is never let down. And in my stream, if you feel safe and you fall asleep to me, that means you feel safe, you feel cozy. I'm like a second home to you. And that's fucking awesome. So I don't take that as a negative if somebody falls asleep. Some people are like, oh, they fall asleep in your stream, they must have been bored. I'm like, no, they must have felt safe, because I know what it feels like not to feel safe somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel safe somewhere, you're not going to let your guard down. And if you feel safe somewhere, you're going to let your guard down and be super cozy to the point where you are at your most vulnerable, where it is falling asleep. Oh my God, I want to become famous. Do you want to become famous, HippieSoLit?
Hey, Hippie, we've got one of those assholes in your chat that wants you to buy followers. It looks like we totally need someone to purge and delete that asshole. Can we totally get a moderator to delete iQua 15975315887 and get him the fuck out of your chat? What an asshole. No, we don't need to delete. We don't need to buy followers, because Hippie is lit as fuck.
Sera, you're not doing commissions openly right now, right? For voice overs and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, if you message me, Hippie, if you want some voice work done, I'll do some voice work for you. So,
yo, thank you.
Yeah, I normally say I'm not like open for commissions, because then like suddenly I get like a spam of like 30 people asking me for stuff, and I'm just like overwhelmed. But like,
I
slide
see.
in my DMs, and I'll do something for you.
Thank you. And honestly, have you ever looked into voice acting work?
You know, it's really funny because people ask me that like all the time, and I there's a couple of people that are voice actors that come into my chat, and they mention that to me, and I just really need to get like a demo, like a demo like reel together and send it to them, because they all work for various voice acting companies, and just kind of submit it, because it's one of those things you never know unless you try, right?
Of
So,
course. And
yeah.
honestly, I think you would be. I personally think you would be good. Look, everyone in chat loved it. Have you ever sent anything off? Because honestly,
No,
your voice is amazing,
the
amazing.
funny Yeah, no, the funny part is like I didn't bother with the little like cutesy anime voice until I started streaming. Like
Mm-hmm.
my I was playing a game called Mad Father, and there's this like nurse character. It's Mad Father's sort of like this like 16-bit like RPG maker like horror game, and I
Mm-hmm.
really like it. But there's a lot of dialogue and there's no voice acting, and so I was trying to like spice it up. And
Mm-hmm.
there's this nurse character, and I don't know what came over me, but I just started talking in that weird voice whenever her character's lines came up,
Mm-hmm.
and people kind of liked it, and I was like, okay, well, we'll just like roll with this from now. And then it just turned into like essentially a meme on my channel, and then it just sort of exploded into like that is like now like an integral part of my channel. And
Mm-hmm.
like who my like I wouldn't call it a persona because I don't really have a persona. Like what you see is what you get, or what you hear is what you get. And it just kind of became like an integral part of me, and then I just sort of rolled with it, and everybody likes it, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm actually kind of good at this. So
Yeah.
yeah, like we're just gonna
Hey,
go with
Sera
this.
Easy on
So
HippieSoLit.
yeah, so
Where
I
are you? Let's
kind of just need to
go.
get off my butt. So right now, like work wise is can you say
Stop, bro. What are you doing? Oni-chan? Oni-chan? Plex Gaming? Stop, bro. What are you doing? Oh, Oni-chan, please stop. You're hurting me, Oni-chan.
Well, past those girls are hurting me. Wait a minute.
No, Cyril, Senrio, no, I don't need this now. Please stop, it will.
So much pog, dude.
And the funny part is like I have a mixer and I have no fucking clue how to use all the little buttons to actually change my voice. So that's just like me naturally change my voice.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at your equipment actually, and if y'all don't know, if you go on Seravium's channel, of course she has all her equipment up on there as well. You use the Yamaha, right?
I use a Yamaha
Mhm.
MGX 32. I don't even fucking know. My brother bought it for me.
Oh, Pog.
My brother, my dad bought it for me for my birthday 1 year.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really funny because my brother and my dad are really like super supportive of my streaming, and they both like follow my channel, and my
Mhm.
brother's one of my moderators, and my dad pops in every now and then and to say hi, and they're both very pro streaming for me. So
Mhm.
yeah, they're really all about my streaming. But yeah, they pitched in and bought my microphone and bought my mixer, and I was like, I don't even know what this is. Like, yay, do I sound good?
Yeah, and honestly, that's actually another question I was gonna ask is if personality wise, is if your family supports you, and clearly it sounds like they do. Do they stream as well?
No, my brother does not stream. He doesn't really
Mm.
have time. He's got a 4-year-old niece, and his wife is in the police force, and so she's really busy, and so he's kind of like he actually works with me. He works with HR within the like organization that I work in, and so we actually work together, and he's really busy with that, plus a 4-year-old, plus wife working like 60 hours plus a week, and
Mhm.
so almost like a single dad, but not.
Yeah.
And my dad's retired, but they all really support me in what I do, and they just they know I'm such a fucking video game nerd. So
Yeah.
yeah, they both are just like really into it. I just went through just recently. I had my emotes stolen for the first time.
No.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like I feel like everybody at some point in their Twitch streaming career is going to have their emotes stolen at some point. So I had my emotes stolen in, what was it, Nick? Like March or something?
No way.
Yeah, it was like March or something. Another streamer that does like pinball streaming stole my emotes and then tried to claim them as his own, and then tried to use my Octopus Hello emote as a part of a charity quilt that was going to a cancer patient, surprisingly in the town that I live in. And it was getting quilted into a blanket of other pinball streamers. And I was like, that's my fucking emote. Like, and you're using all your emotes on your Twitch. So I had to put in my first DMCA takedown notice, which was like super surreal to me because, you know, you see these streamers that have been streaming for a really long time, like Maxi Lobes and Bakba Soup and you know, like, you know, Admiral Baru and all these people that, you know, obviously would have like Biddy that have their emotes stolen all the time. And I'm like, I'm like a fucking nobody. Like, why would I have my emotes stolen? It was just super surreal to me. So I had to do my first DMC takedown. And then after that, I was like, I got to do something to, you know, kind of protect myself and also just kind of figure out this whole legal kind of stuff. And I decided, okay, well, it's time to look into the legal side of all of this. And I went and got myself a trademark lawyer, and I'm already in the process of trademarking my my product and branding. So I am in the process of service marking the word Seravium, so it will be registered trademark like Nike or Google. Or
thank you for saying that, because I don't mean to cut you off, but this is actually very important for people who are trying to get into streaming and doing what you do. Please, just because it's your name, if it's not on black and white, it's not you. And whoever gets it first, hey, really though, that's legally, you are technically now at fault because you didn't go through the proper procedures. Did you did you at least try to contact that individual? Or
yeah, it was funny because my artist Hannah Khan, who does all my emotes, she got contacted by the person. They had already uploaded all my 5 of my emotes or 7 of my emotes to their channel, and then contacted her and wanted to buy them off of her. And she emailed me immediately and was like, Sera, we've got a problem. I think we have a copyright infringement. This person already uploaded your emotes and now they're wanting to buy them off of me. And she's like, I think we got a problem. They stole them off of my Adobe account. That was, you know, she had them up for her. She's still in the university system. And she has them as part of her university portfolio for her school to show her artwork. And they had stolen them off of her Adobe account. And so she contacted me immediately, contacted them to take it down. I put in a DMCA with Twitch immediately, and then contacted them and was like, you have to take this down. You've got 48 hours to take this down. I contacted Twitch, and then I immediately went to my local kind of Google search and searched for trademark lawyers in my area and started putting out feelers because I was like, what can I do about this? Because I was like, oh shit. And then kind of reached out to a couple other Twitch partners that I knew had similar issues and was like, what do we do about this? You know, to protect myself.
And that's fucked. Go ahead. Yeah. No. I don't mean to cut you off. I was just saying it's such a hassle to prove that it was you. You know what I mean?
And they got scared pretty quickly and took them down. And you know, Twitch reached out to me, and they had taken him down before Twitch got their butt in gear. So you know, Twitch was like, we don't see a problem. So they didn't get a DMCA stain on their account, unfortunately, because they had taken them down before Twitch had investigated. But after that account had taken them down, I had already contacted 3 different law firms, and one of them reached back out to me. And luckily this law firm
they have done cases for people that on Twitch, they have done cases for people on YouTube, Facebook, websites. They have actually gone to court for people on those websites. And so they knew exactly what I was talking about. And I was really excited because, you know, these people, I didn't have to explain what Twitch was. I didn't have to explain what live streaming was. They knew exactly what I was talking about. And they were like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's get your name service marked. Let's get your 2 main logos trademarked. Let's get all your emotes copyrighted. Here's the forms we need to fill out. Here's the cost for all of these. How do you want to do this? And like, they've just been wonderful so far. So they just put in the trademark and service mark licensure. And now we're going through all my emotes and working through all of those to bundle them. So it's been an experience. It's not cheap.
No, not in the slightest.
It's not cheap, but in the end, it kind of gives me a peace of mind. You know, it makes it official. It's mine. My artist feels good about it. She signs over all the rights to me, and it's like, you know, the artwork, the name. It's officially mine as long as, you know, the U.S. government approves it, and I feel like I have a little bit more control and a little bit more legal recourse if something like this happens again and or on a larger scale. Like, I have my website. I don't want somebody stealing that stuff off my website.
Yeah.
You know, if I did get a voice acting gig or something, it's more protected. You know, like just like you said with your music and stuff, you create something as a content creator, whether it's music or videos. You just got to protect what's yours, right?
Yeah.
So
is your attorney within like around your area, or did you find them online? Yeah, within your area.
Yeah, they're like, ooh, we got water coming out of this bathroom. Oh, EMF 5.
Sweet, this is where it's at. All right. But,
yeah, so they're in my city, they're in my town, so I know exactly where they're at. So I could actually go down to their legal office if I wanted to.
Same, that's what I did.
And see them in person. Yeah, I don't want to be away from like a lawyer. I don't want them like far away. Like, they understand where I live. They understand like my needs. And I wanted somebody that actually knew what the hell Twitch was.
Would you advise that for new streamers that are trying to get into it?
I would advise that for anybody that is serious about taking this to the long term, you know, or somebody that has the monetary means to do it and really has thought about their branding.
But
it's one of those things, like, some people change their name on Twitch multiple times, right? So that's not going to work if you put in all the money for a branding service mark on a name that you end up changing. Then, well, you just wasted money.
They kind of screwed themselves, to be honest, because at the end of the day, you lawyered up. You know what I mean? You lawyered up. You contacted Twitch. You went through the correct routes, and that's that. Honestly, I don't see why anyone wouldn't get one besides having a financial issue. And plus, seeing that you were recently partnered, for you being just gotten partnered, how did you do that? Like, do you have any tips for future streamers that are thinking about it?
Yeah, so something that was always taught. So two people that I consider my mentors when I was starting out on Twitch. Two people I look up to, and I still look up to, and that definitely mentored me when I was just starting out on Twitch, is somebody named Dame Butter the Fourth, who is also a horror streamer from Brunei. He doesn't use a camera. And so he kind of motivated me to take on the challenge of streaming even without a camera. And also Ekadikis, who is a horror streamer and speedrunner, he took me under his wing and taught me a lot as well. So Dame Butter the Fourth taught me his motto of being honest, sincere, and genuine always. That is his motto that I have adopted as my own. And honestly, what that means is to be genuine is to always be yourself without lying or be faulty. Always present yourself as you are.
you know, you can come up with a persona, you know, if you want to, but the real you is the person that people love and adore. And to be honest, don't lie about yourself. You don't need to, because again, the real you is the one that everybody loves and adores. And to be genuine and to be sincere, like mean what you say and say what you mean.
Exactly.
And always means to hold that always, like you don't falter on that, like always keep those things in mind always. And so that's kind of what I always try to strive to do. And then Ecodicus really hounded into me branding, because, and what I mean by branding is, and what he taught me about branding is, when you see something like the Nike logo, you know exactly that it's Nike. When you see the Google logo or the Apple logo, you know exactly that that's Google and Apple. And so as a streamer, you've got to build an icon or an image or a branding of yourself that when somebody sees it, they're going to know exactly that it's you. So I made my branding around my little purple octopus, Kai. And so if somebody sees that little purple octopus, they know exactly who it is, right?
Of course.
You know, when you look at that purple octopus, you know it's Seravium. Or if you hear that little squeaky anime voice, you know it's probably Seravium, right? That's what that branding means. You're not questioning that. You know that if you hear or see an octopus with a squeaky anime voice playing horror games, you're going to associate that with Seravium. And that's what I mean by branding. There's no question about what streamer that is. You know, you see that with Bakba Soup.
Oh, yeah.
You see that with Eternal Enigma. You see that with Catlink. You see their emotes, and you know exactly who it is, no matter what chat it's in. You see that little... you see that little chicken, and you know exactly that it's Bakba Soup. There's no question that that's Bakba Soup. And that's what Ecodicus hounded into me with branding, because people remember images more than they remember a streamer's content or face. Like, that's just how it is, because people are visual. So they might not remember my voice, they might not remember the game that I played, but they'll remember the imagery of my branding first. And so kind of with those two things, that's kind of what I always suggest to streamers to create is, you know, create something that you can be proud of. Because if you don't like yourself and you don't like what your content is about, your streamers or your viewers aren't going to like it. So that's why, you know, genuine, honest, and sincere always works. Because you can't fake it until you make it, because that's exhausting and that is energy draining. And, you know, you can only do that for so long. And, you know, and if you could create an image that people will remember, then you're golden on that. And just keep it at it. You know, find out what you like to play. Don't play what's popular. If you always are playing what's popular, you're going to get burned out, because you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. So if you're always playing what's popular, you're going to get burned out and you're going to hate what you're doing. So you've got to play what makes you happy, because your audience knows when you're having a shitty day.
Yes.
They absolutely know when you're having a shitty day. And if you're having a shitty day, they're going to have a shitty experience watching you. So, you know, that's kind of my thing, is like, you know, play what makes you have fun and play what makes you enjoy what you're doing. And if you have to take a day off for self-care, like, do it, because nobody wants a grumpy, angry, sick, pissed off streamer on stream, you know, unless that is your branding, it is to be a complete asshole online, you know, and people love you for it, you know, and people want to watch that, then that's fine. But like, you know, if you have like a nice, cozy, comfy community and then you just start being a jerk all the time, you're going to lose your audience. Right.
Do you stream on days you feel like you're having a bad day mentally, like not all here, maybe you had a bad day at work and you go live? Would you go live?